Welcome to the Artist Academy podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Earhart, and I am so excited that you're here to catch the weekly replay of my laid-back yet very inspiring conversations with other full-time professional artists. The purpose of this series is to show aspiring artists that it is completely possible to have a great career in the arts. And if you ever want to tune in and have your questions answered in real time by myself or featured guests, then just check out the schedule over at facebook.com/groups/Artist Academy every Tuesday to catch us on live. I'll see you there. This episode is sponsored by the Artist Academy Advanced Membership, a program for artists who want to up-level their art game by taking it from a hobby or a side hustle to a full-time six-figure art business. With weekly trainings that include step-by-step proven art business techniques, plus painting tutorials from yours truly and other guest artists who are masters in their field, you will be well equipped to learn and grow into the highly skilled and highly profitable artist you know you're meant to be. I've figured out what it takes to build my own six-figure art business, and now my heart is set on teaching aspiring artists like you to do the same. It's not hard, but it does require your time and dedication. So, if you're up for the challenge, go to advancedmember.com. That's advancedmember.com to learn more. Welcome to another solo episode with yours truly. Hello, Andrea Earhart here, and it is the day after Christmas. Currently, I am recording the day after Christmas. I took Christmas off, and I was like, okay, around this time of year, I get so excited, and I think you'll hear a lot of excitement in my voice throughout this whole episode because it's talking about the 31-day paint challenge. So our January paint challenge, 31 paintings in 31 days, starting January 1st. And so I wanted to record this literally right after Christmas because this is when I start to feel the momentum of the next year. And I know you can literally remake your business, your life. You can start the diet whenever you want, but there's something so special and there's so much momentum around the first of the year. You know, people are making New Year's resolutions. Not everybody is sticking to them come July, but I am not one of those people. I am one of those that jumps into a new year with new goals or altered goals from last year's goals. I like to sit down and see what's worked in my business last year, what I can improve on, what didn't work and needs to be scratched off, and just all the new plans that I want to do for the next year. And next year in 2020 is going to be big and exciting, and I'm so excited to just sit down and go over all of what I've made last year. That's actually for next podcast episode. Okay, anyway, enough of the intro. We're going to go over the 31-day challenge. And so if you hear me say that and you're like, 31 paintings in 31 days, you're crazy. I have a life. I have a job. Just hear me out. I'm going to tell you how I completed last year's challenge from working all day, every day, and to coming home and completing the challenge at night because I wanted to put myself in the majority of artists' shoes. You guys, a lot of you who are listening here aren't full-time yet. Some are lucky, and so some have just taken the leap, but a lot aren't. And so last year I wanted to sit down at every single night and carve away a couple hours every night to complete a painting every single day for 31 days. And I'm so passionate about this because this is what kicked off my most profitable year yet. I have not sat down and crunched the numbers yet, but I already know. It is by far my most profitable year yet, with painting commissions, with canvases or murals or logos, just everything with a paintbrush. 2019 was my most profitable year by far, and it started out, and it was in part of a response to this 31-day challenge. We started it January 1st. Last year, that was round 1. Now, 2020 is going to be round 2. And it's going to be better and bigger. And I'm so excited that you're here to hopefully join me. Okay, so I also wanted to just, take a step back and just be really, really real with you guys. I feel like a lot of the times I'm like, you can do it, like you can do this, it's so simple, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to be really real and say that the 31-day paint challenge is tough. Like, it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the person who wants to come in and be like, okay, I think I kind of want to do this. I'm going to try it out for fun. Like, maybe. No. I guarantee if you're like, I'm just in this for fun, you probably won't complete it, and then you might be a little mad at yourself. And that's just me being completely honest. So I'm going to go over in this episode some of the benefits that can come from completing a challenge like this. Some of just the things that can happen, not just with revenue like my year did. It's just there's something amazing and special that happens with creating momentum with something like this, with a 31-day challenge that you announce publicly, you're doing with a bunch of other artists, alongside me, alongside other artists in the Artist Academy, or aspiring artists, and it's just such a fun experience, and there's so many benefits that can come from it. But just to be real, it is tough. Like, it is tough. You are going to have to carve away some time, and not a lot of people are willing to do what it takes to complete this challenge, or just to be real further. Like, it's kind of hard for me to say this, but not a lot of people have what it takes to become a full-time successful artist. And I know that, and I've witnessed that firsthand by starting the Artist Academy membership this past year. Not everyone is willing to put in the work, which is kind of sad in some ways. And I know that life gets in the way, and everybody's schedule is different than mine, and everybody's schedule is different than everybody else's, and I get that. But if you are willing to carve away the time that it takes to build a website, to create a checkout system on your website, to enhance your painting skills, to just all of the stuff that it takes, it takes time, and it takes a lot of time up front that you will be profiting from later. And not a lot of people get that way of thinking. Not a lot of people can look ahead and think, the work I'm doing now will benefit me for years to come. Not everybody can think like that. And that's why not a lot of people will want to put in the effort. And as a little bit of sadness as that is, it also kind of leaves room for those of us who are willing to put in the work, who don't mind staying up a little later or getting up a little earlier to put in that couple hours, or not watching that extra Netflix episode, or, and I'm not saying work yourself to death, which I'll be talking about how I went through a phase of burnout here this past year in a next episode, but you don't have to do that extreme. You just have to give a couple hours a day to your future, to something that you're wanting to build, and something you know that you can do, and you're totally capable of doing it. And the 31-day challenge is a really great example and a really great jumpstart for doing just that. Okay, so some of the benefits, after I just kind of harped on like a little bit of negativity, I'll bring it back up with some benefits. So the main reason we're doing this, right, is basically to create a habit. The habits that we have and that we take in our daily lives, they mold our entire life. The habits that you have with brushing your teeth in the morning, combing your hair, like those are all habits. Did you know, actually, this is a fun fact, everybody gets out of the shower and dries off in the same routine. Like, it's different for everybody, but everybody has their own little routine. Isn't that funny? Pay attention to that, or actually try not to pay attention to it, or like pay attention to it right after you get out of the shower, you dry off. Most people will do arms, legs, hair, or some people are legs, hair, arms, or something, whatever. You dry off out of the shower in a routine. It's a habit. You don't even think about it. You do it in the exact same way every single time. And so painting every day and doing something like this is creating a habit. You're creating a habit, and so it will take, let's see, how do I want to say it? So it basically, it takes the thinking out of it for you. So you're creating this habit and you're taking the hard part of making yourself do it and thinking about it, and you're just making it easy. And the more you do it, the easier it will get. They actually say that it takes 66 days to truly form a habit, and we're only doing 31. So we're only doing about half of that, but we've got to start somewhere, right? And so we'll start with 31, a 31-day painting challenge. Also, another benefit, and this I experienced from last year from doing it myself. So last year, the main focus was to create a habit. That's what I knew we were doing without even doing it. I was like, okay, I know this is the reason we're doing it. However, from doing it last year, I noticed that it created a lot of momentum, not just with me, but with my customers. My customers and Facebook and Instagram followers, they were looking forward to what I was painting every day, because I also did a time lapse every day. Super easy. I just set up my iPhone on a tripod right next to me. That way I could just put it right on the painting. Also, it actually helped me not be on my phone while I was painting. And yeah, I set up a time lapse, so I painted for a couple hours, and then I posted it to my story on Instagram, and people started to notice that every single day I was creating this new, super cute painting. And it started to get into the habit in their mind as well. So they started to get used to it. It started to be a routine. I guess I should say routine instead of habit for them. And they looked forward to it every day. And they started talking about it. And it created conversations. And new followers followed me because people were telling them about what I was doing. They're like, she creates a new thing every day. Well, that's cool. They're like, I want to see. And then it was a conversation starter. People would message me, hey, if I didn't post until like 10 o'clock at night, they'd be like, hey, are you going to do your painting today? I'm like, hey, people are actually listening, or people are actually watching. Kind of creepy, but it's kind of cool to see that other people care a little bit. And some people cared enough to even buy my paintings. I think I sold probably about 50% of the paintings I made, because some of them were super quick. Some only took about an hour. Some took 2 hours. Some took 3+. And so by getting momentum and getting that going, it helped the word spread. It helped people look forward to something, and it helped people buy. So yeah, okay. Which actually leads me into another thing you could do. So just a possibility. This is what Amy Hoover does. And if you haven't heard her episode, she is episode number 47 of the Artist Academy podcast, right here where you're listening. And she's episode number 47. And she was actually one of the artists who inspired this whole thing. She did a 30-day paint challenge in September for, I want to say, 3 or 4 years straight. I can't remember exactly if it was 3 or if it was 4. And she talks about the benefits of doing that as well. So, and she fully believes in it, and she is just a bangin' artist. Okay, and so she kind of helped inspire me to start this. So if you want to listen from a different perspective that's not just my own, go listen to episode 47 with Amy Hoover. We talk about it. It's like right in the middle of the episode if you just want to fast forward to it. But yeah, so she created a special pricing structure. So she put everything that she created in those 30 days as half off. So that created momentum with her posting every day, but it also created an incentive. So someone buying during those 30 days, they were getting 50% off. And she gained a lot of new collectors doing that. So, and with offering something at 50% off, I think of it as, actually, this is her word. She thinks of it as kind of a gateway drug in that. So you get something for half off, you get it in your home, you see the quality, you're like, oh yeah, and then you keep following this artist. And then a couple months later, a couple years later, however long, they're like, oh, I really love my painting. You know, she's created another one this year. I think I'm going to buy that one too. Or they see another full-priced one and they're like, well, I have this one. I know how great of quality she has. I'm going to buy this one too. It's a gateway painting. And so it helps you gain new collectors. Okay, so my advice for you is maybe put a special pricing structure on this 31-day challenge if you want to. I'm going to be doing that. I don't know exactly how I'm going to be doing it yet. I'm still kind of figuring it out, but that's the fun of it. We're just experimenting, you know? Okay. So also another benefit, you really appreciate your time. Come February 1st, I was like, holy gosh, that was a little bit harder than I thought. And it was harder mainly because I was painting during the day. I would go paint vases or go paint murals or whatnot, and then I would come home and I would continue painting. And it was just a lot. And I underestimated how much time and how much energy I would need. But however, come February 1st, I was like, what do I do with all my free time now? I guess I can just paint, right? Because I was in the habit. I was like, it made me appreciate my free time so much more. And oftentimes, I would just use it to paint anyway. I would take a couple days off here and there, but then the majority of the times throughout the whole 2019, I'd be like, well, what am I doing tonight? Well, I'll either work on Artist Academy stuff or I'll paint because I'm in the habit of working and, you know, not to overstress yourself like the 31-day challenge might do a little bit. It gets your tolerance up. And so come February, you're going to be like, okay, I need a break maybe, but you're going to be in the habit of painting and you're going to want to go back to it, I promise. Okay, also, knowing that someone is counting on you creates a sense of urgency, and you're like, what? Who's counting on me? What? I'll tell you, in the Artist Academy Facebook group is where everybody posts their day 1, day 2, day 3 paintings. And if you're not in the Artist Academy Facebook group, don't worry, just post on Instagram and use the hashtag 31 paintings in 31 days or hashtag January Paint Challenge. So that's hashtag 31 paintings in 31 days or hashtag January Paint Challenge. Just like mark those as a note in your note section of your phone or whatever. So that way you don't have to be in the Facebook group. However, it is a lot of fun in there. I'm just going to tell you, it's so much fun in there. And you get to see all the other artists who are posting. So every single day, usually I would post at night. Some artists would get up and they would post in the morning. Depends on what you like to do, right? Whatever your style is. If you're an early riser, if you're a late nighter. I'm personally a late nighter, but I know plenty of early risers in the membership group, so I know that they're going to be posting way early in the morning, which is going to make me or encourage me to post as soon as possible. But having people that are counting on you and that are waiting on you to post, it creates a little bit more of an urgency. And that's another part that I didn't really expect that I would need. So, I'm just like you guys. Like, if I have something to do, I'm going to procrastinate a little bit. Like, oftentimes, although I'm much better about it nowadays than I was several years ago, but oftentimes I'll be like, okay, yeah, I'll do that later. Like, I'll do that. Like, with a 31 paint challenge, you have to do it today. Like, you have, like, your day 5, everybody else is in there, and everybody else is posting their day 5, and they're waiting on you. They're gonna know if you don't do it. And so it makes, especially with me, with leading it, it's like everybody is counting on me to post this, and I'm gonna do it. It creates this special sense of urgency that you just don't get if you're not in a challenge, you know? And it's kind of a camaraderie, and you can meet other artists, and a lot of artists will actually, so when they post their like day 6 or day 7, they'll ask for feedback. They're like, hey, I'm mostly done with this. This is my painting for the day. However, what do you guys think about this part of it? Or what's something that I could have done better? And we're all in a safe space in our Artist Academy Facebook group. And so a lot of people will ask for critiques, and they'll get them. And they'll get them from the perspective of an artist who sees the world just a little bit differently than they do. So they're getting a perspective of just not themselves. And it is so important to get other eyes on your paintings. I ask my fiance Ryan all the time, when I think something's off in my painting, I'll bring him into the room, be like, hey, what do you think about this? And he'll stare at it for a little bit, and he'll be like, it looks good. I'm like, is anything off about it? And I won't tell him what it is, what I think it is. Because if I do, he's either going to agree or I don't know. So I don't tell him what it is. I'm just like, hey, is something off about this? And if he continues to say no after I press him, then I know it's fine. But however, if he's like, that, you know, antler is kind of weird. I'd be like, I knew it! Oh! So that's just a different version, a more in-person version of what people do inside of the Artist Academy Facebook group. So you can post it in there for inspiration, for motivation, or for critique. And yeah, okay. So I think you'll surprise yourself too with this. And it really sets the tone for the rest of the year. Once you see the benefits, you'll want to keep going. And I think you'll surprise yourself, like I said, just from the amount that you can do, because it's all about keeping promises to yourself. Because running a business, running an art business that's your own, nobody's telling you when to do things. Not a lot of people are setting deadlines. They're not saying, hey, get up at 7, be to work at 8, take your lunch at noon. Like, that's not our life. Our life is very self-motivated, self-monitored. Yes, we have some deadlines, for painting sometimes, but nobody's telling us to do anything, really. We're all figuring it out. And I've had to figure it out over the last several years and figure out what motivates me and what gets me to the easel or what gets me to the wall. If it's a mural, I'm like, okay, like it is a lot of self-motivation. But with the January Paint Challenge, 31 paintings in 31 days, it's more of a group motivation. And there's just so much growth that can happen in something like that. And I think you'll surprise yourself in how much you'll like it if you just try it. Okay, so I just want to talk about last year. Like, I've kind of been referencing it just a little bit, but last year, so going into 2019, this was before the Artist Academy was a thing. So it was just an idea. So I just started the Artist Academy podcast, the Artist Academy Facebook group, the membership group. Everything happened in 2019, and it happened in like April or May of 2019, somewhere in there. And so come January 1st, it wasn't a thing. And I didn't really know what I was doing exactly. I was like, okay, I know I want to do a paint challenge, like a 31 days and 31 paintings. But like, I think I want it to maybe be a group thing. I think I want to start doing tutorials. I'm not sure. I don't know. Like, I want to teach, but I don't know. Excuse me. Excuse me. And so when I started it, I was like, this is just a complete experiment. So I put a post on Instagram and it was like, hey, whoever wants to do this with me, you're more than welcome. I don't know what I'm doing, but I think it could be beneficial. Like, let's build the habit together. Because I want 2019 to be a big year for me. I had that goal. It was very intentional. And I knew starting with 31 paintings in 31 days, doing something super hard would start out in a really productive way. So I put a Facebook or an Instagram post out, and I had 40, I think it was 40, 45, something like that. I don't remember exactly, but there was about 40 participants. So 40 artists that raised their hand, and they were like, yes, I want to do it with you. I was like, amazing. So I put us all in a Facebook group that is actually non-existent anymore, and which actually spawned, which actually, okay, we'll just say that, spawned the Artist Academy Facebook group that is now. It was actually a completely different group. It was just us, and so we would post our daily paintings in the group that day. And for the first week, everybody was pretty gung-ho on it. And this is exactly what's going to happen this year. I'm predicting it. I know it. It's what's going to happen. And so everybody's going to be gung-ho for the first week. And a few will drop off because after the weekend comes, and then a few more will drop off after the second week, and then people will really start to fall off. And then by the end, a fraction will actually finish. And I'm not saying that to be negative. I'm not saying people can't do it. Like you definitely can if you set your mind to it. But people, they don't want to set aside the time to do something like this. It's not worth it to them. So you need a why. Like everybody says, you need a why that's behind this. Whether it's, I want to make art my full-time career and I know that this will help me, but you have to really believe that. And I'm telling you that it will. So you have to really believe me in that too. But whether it's, so actually last year, my why was I wanted to First, I wanted to start the Artist Academy in some way. I had no idea how to do it, but that was a motivation. I wanted to get a group of us together, test this out. That was a why. Also, I have a how to paint book, and I needed more pages in the how to paint book. I needed more animals to paint. And just super quick, 1 to 2 hour paintings. And I knew that I wasn't going to get it done. I didn't get any done over Christmas. I didn't get any done over Thanksgiving. And so I was like, okay, I need something to help me do these. And so I started the 31-day challenge, and I did 31 paintings that are now in my how to paint book that is not quite released yet. And so this year, I actually am going to step it up a notch in 2020 and create a tutorial every single day I just laugh thinking about it. I just know that last year was hard and this year is going to be even harder, but I do not shy away from a challenge, and I have big goals for my life and my business, and I know that this will help in completing those goals. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to be painting anyway, so I'm going to create a tutorial. And actually, I'm going to be going over and doing some of my paint book animals that I created last year. Not all of them, but maybe like half, I don't know, a third. And so that way I have painting tutorials ready for when I do release the book. So when my painting book will come out, it'll have all these how to paint pages that are already made, and I'll also have a link to videos to where people will only not have the book, but they'll have some videos with it too, and I'm so excited. I'm actually going to have some free downloadable paint book pages to the ones that I'm going to be doing, and I'll let you guys know how to download those if you would like to learn. And so also, if you're painting along with me, I'll tell you exactly when I'm going to be painting live, exactly when I'm going to be doing the tutorial. So if you want to sit down and paint with me, Bob Ross style, you totally can. Okay, let's see. So how to start? Okay, so if you're like, okay, I'm ready to up-level my business in 2020, okay, I'm ready to do it. You've talked me into it. Okay, Andrea, I give up. Okay, how to start? First off, you're going to open your calendar. Just open it. Open it right now. And you're going to plan some hours every single day in your calendar to paint. So last year, I recommend doing something small, like be realistic, okay? You're not going to create a 36 by 48 giant canvas every night after work. That's not realistic. You might be able to do that on the weekends when you have all day to paint, if you can. But last year, I had 31 canvases, so 31 12 by 12 inch canvases. And I picked out also 31 animal images that I wanted to be in my paint book. So I actually sketched them all those images on a canvas, like 31 images on a canvas, on each canvas. So I had a pile of 31 12 by 12 canvases. So that way, when I was done painting for the day and I wanted to come in and paint, I didn't have to go to Hobby Lobby and buy a canvas or buy it wherever you buy it. I didn't have to sketch it out. I didn't have to do any of that. I made it so easy on myself where all I had to do was lock myself in my studio, aka spare bedroom. Right now my studio is my spare bedroom. And there's no bed in here or anything. It's all art, but it's my own little room in here. So all I had to do was walk in, pick up a canvas, decide which animal I wanted to paint that day, because they were already chosen for me, and start painting. That's it. I made it as easy as possible as I could on myself. And I highly, highly, highly encourage you to do that as well, especially if you have a day job. Take the time where you're off right now, this weekend for Christmas, just around this time, and be a little productive with it. And I promise you will thank yourself later on. You can always change your mind too. So I projected some of the images, so I just took like an hour, projected the images on my canvas, sketched them out super lightly, but the beauty with that is you're going to be like, well, what if I don't want to paint a frog on Monday or whatever? You can change it. You still have the canvas is ready, you can erase that frog, and you can paint a koala bear or something, I don't know. I painted both of those last year, so that's why I'm drawing from it. So yeah, this year, I have some canvas commissions that I'm saving up for the 31-day challenge. I'm supposed to paint like a giant flamingo. I'm supposed to paint what is it? It's like a mountain lion. Those are going to be weekend ones. Those will not be during the week. Most of my during the week ones will be an hour to 2 hour short tutorials over how to paint the animals in my how to paint book. I'm actually going to start to paint some more butterflies, so small butterflies that are maybe going to be like 7 by 7 inches, something like that. I really want to start a butterfly series. I've been thinking about it for months. So if you have something that you're like, oh, I've really wanted to paint this, use this as an excuse to do it, to start it. I really want to do a butterfly series. Maybe do even like a butterfly every week of this year. I don't know. That's also something that I'm starting, that I've been thinking about, but that's another challenge. So yeah, I am not shy on challenging myself to do things that are slightly out of reach, but still totally attainable if you just take some time. Okay, so now I just want to talk to you about some rules. So, I am the rule maker of it, I guess, which sounds kind of weird to me, but some of the rules that I've kind of made up for myself, and you can follow these if you choose. And some of these rules also combat some excuses that people make, too, so that's another reason why I wanted to address it. A lot of people... So if you have a painting currently that is in your studio or in your closet or whatever, that it's started but not finished, so say you started it a couple months ago or whenever or last week or whatever, and you're like, I'll get to that one day, but you don't have a lot of motivation to get to it, that's totally game to have a painting completed in a day on one of your days. If you've started it before and it's something that you need to complete one day, complete it and count it as your one. Now, if you only need to put a highlight on it, and you're only going to spend 10 minutes on it, use your best judgment. I'm not saying that. However, if it's halfway done and you still have a couple hours to go on it, or 5 hours or whatever, totally acceptable, I think, because if we're thinking about it, this challenge is supposed to help with progression, with finishing things. And what better? Think about at the end of January, if you have no half-finished paintings on your list, if you're done with your commissions and you're just starting again, everything that you need to do that you've been putting off is done by the end of January, and you have no more half-finished paintings in your studio, just breathe a sigh of relief on how good that would feel. I used to be so bad with stacking up half-finished paintings or being like, oh, this one's just for fun, I'll complete it later, and years later I completed it and I was like, I should have done that earlier, I have one painting that's in the garage that is on a 4-foot by 8-foot canvas that I'm supposed to do for someone and who is in absolutely no hurry. And I need to complete that one, and that one's going to get completed during the 31-day paint challenge. Again, probably on the weekends. It's huge. I'm probably going to take a Saturday and not sleep for 24 hours or whatever. No, actually, I'm pretty quick. I'll probably complete it in 12 to 14 hours. If I just concentrate on it, I could probably get it knocked out in that amount of time. But I'll be so happy when that one is out of the garage and done. So this is speaking from personal experience. Okay, another rule. What if I have a completely just super busy day one Monday and there's just absolutely no way I could get to the easel and make a painting? I say no problem. And I'm going to say a way to kind of alter that method is to complete two the day before. So say on Monday, that you're just going to be so swamped with kids stuff, with practice, with work, you're working overtime, whatever it is. Do a couple on the weekend. And they can be small. That's fine. I remember towards the end, one of my last paintings, I knew that I was going to be working 12 to 14 hours on a mural one day. And so I was like, okay, think realistically. I'm not going to kill myself on this day by working 12 to 14 hours on a mural and then coming home and painting more. It's counterproductive. I don't paint very well if it past 12 hours anyway. So I did two the night before, And I waited to post it, and when I posted it, I was like, hey, I actually did this one yesterday, but this counts as 31 paintings in 31 days, because that's the main thing, okay? The main thing isn't that if you fall off one day, you give up, because you're like, well, I lost, whatever, now I'm out. Like, no, you can pick it back up. If you have a surprising, like, really busy day one day and you're like, there's no way I can, like, I need to sleep, like, do that. Do what's good for your body. But then the next day, come in and be like, get your sleep and attack it. And be like, all right, I'm making up for what I lost. Because the main thing is just to complete 31 paintings in 31 days. Who can say that they've done that, Have you ever done that? Probably not, because I just did it last year and it's hard. But I'm doing it again, if that says anything. Like, even though it was hard, I'm doing it again because I can see the benefits from it. And I want to start out 2020 up with a bang. I want to make more in 2020 than I did this past year, and I know it will happen. Plus, if you want to, like, I'm just going to throw this out there too. Like, if you're like, no, I'm really busy, like, January is really busy for me, and, like, honestly, most January for artists is the least busy you'll be all year. I'm like, let's be real. Christmas was super busy. You're getting a break during Christmas, and January isn't going to be as busy as Christmas. Like, rarely. I'm actually getting married in February. So we leave on February 15th to go get married, and then I go on my honeymoon, and I'll be gone for a solid, like, month out of between the wedding and the honeymoon, and then the wedding back here. I'm actually getting married in Aruba, and then we're going to Antarctica for our honeymoon, which is nuts. I can't believe I'm saying that, but we're getting married in Aruba in February, and then we're going to Antarctica and the end of February and into March, and then we come back and we're doing a big party for people back here. So it's gonna be a really busy month for me, and I have planning to do, not a whole lot, but like I'm planning a wedding in January. Like, if you're like, oh no, my life is kind of busy, like, I'm planning a wedding in January. Like, let's not do the excuses. And actually, one of my good friends, she's also an artist, Emily, she was like, I told her about this, and she's like, you're gonna do this with you planning a wedding? And I was like, yeah. I was like, and let's step it up a notch. I'm gonna do a tutorial. And she just looked at me like I was nuts. I'm like, but I don't mind a challenge. I really don't. Okay. Also, for an added prize in this, I'm so excited. So I'm going to be working on getting a art supplier company to donate something. I currently do not have anything, so I don't want to say like, oh, we're giving away paints or whatever. Something's in the works, but it's currently not set in stone. So I don't want to say just yet all the prizes that you can get with that. However, I'm going to be working on an art supplier. I want to tell you who it is, but it's a big name, but I don't want to like jinx myself. And I don't want people to be like, you said that we were going to get art supplies from this big name company and then we didn't. So I'm not going to say it. However, I'm working on it. Also, another prize in there, I'm going to throw in a free month so you can be in the Artist Academy Advanced in February for free if you would like to come in and take your art business to the next level in 2020. That is my goal for the Artist Academy Advanced. Every single week we get a new tutorial over art business or painting techniques from me or guest experts in their field. And yeah, that I'm offering a free month to anybody who finishes it. Like, if you finish it, you're in for a free month. Like, there's no drawing or anything. If you finish the 31-day painting in 31 days, you are the kind of artist who will do well in the Artist Academy Advanced, and I will give you a free month of it to come in and just soak up as many tutorials as you want. And yeah, no strings attached. So yeah, okay, what else do we have on here? Okay, I'm about to turn this mic off and go through what I've made this past year. I'm about to do all my taxes and stuff. I know that it's not even January 1st yet, but I get so excited to do this. I'm probably the only person that gets excited to look over what they've made for the past year and like go over the numbers and the figures and figure out what worked and what didn't, and how much money I made and how much money I lost, and like all that. But I get so excited. And so as it is the day after Christmas right now, I'm gonna jump into it. I'm so excited. Okay. And so I'm going to go over everything of what I spent on advertising, what I've paid out in materials, labor, and everything to get canvas commissions and big mural jobs complete. I'm going to go through it all, and I'm adding it up, and I'm adding up the numbers, and then I'm going to sit back down to this mic, and I'm going to share it with you. And I'm going to share it with you because I hope it inspires you. Like I said, I know already that it's been the biggest year I've ever had in my entire life. And part of me is saying, no, don't share that, because it's bragging, and, saying how much you make is tacky. But however, that's why I'm not posting it on Facebook and Instagram, because my followers or my buyers or the people from my hometown, they don't need to know what I've made this past year. They just don't need to know. And I feel like it would be kind of a brag to do that. It would make me really uncomfortable. However, the people listening, you on this Artist Academy podcast, you are someone who can benefit from that. Seeing how much I spent in advertising, seeing how much I've spent in, added labor of hiring people, and how much I've made this past year, it is a motivator. It would be a motivator to me if I was in your shoes, and that's why I'm going to share it. And I hope you join me in completing 31 paintings in 31 days. It's more fun with friends, I promise, and we will feed off of each other's enthusiasm to achieve something most of us have never done before. So let's start this year off right. Go to your Instagram, go to your Facebook, announce it, tag me, join the Artist Academy Facebook group. It's just facebook.com/groups/Artist Academy. It's completely free. Get some accountability. Come join us, and I will see you January 1st on day 1. This episode is sponsored by the Artist Academy Advanced Membership, a program for artists who want to up-level their art game by taking it from a hobby or a side hustle to a full-time 6-figure art business. With weekly trainings that include step-by-step proven art business techniques, plus painting tutorials from yours truly and other guest artists who are masters in their field, you will be well equipped to learn and grow into the highly skilled and highly profitable artist you know you're meant to be. I've figured out what it takes to build my own 6-figure art business, and now my heart is set on teaching aspiring artists like you to do the same. It's not hard, but it does require your time and dedication. So, if you're up for the challenge, go to advancedmember.com. That's advancedmember.com to learn more. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. If you review our podcast and send a screenshot of that review to me on Instagram, I am at Art by Andrea Earhart. I will then promote your art on my story and tag you as a little thank you for helping me grow this podcast and our Artist Academy community. I have a reach of over 50,000 on Instagram, so this is a little help me to help you incentive. Also, if you ever want your questions answered in real time by myself or featured guests, then just hop on over to facebook.com/groups/Artist Academy to check out the schedule every Tuesday to catch us on live. I'll see you next week.